You're a very interesting poker player since you're blind.
99% blind. This year, things went really bad.
You told me very early when we started our journey together.
This is the best thing I've done for sure. You learned me so much that I weren't aware of, so I'm really grateful.
This is Steven. Steven is a blind poker player, and he got in touch with me because he was facing a big downswing and he wanted to work on some other things as well. Of course, I was interested to understand how a blind person can play poker on such a high level. So we decided to work together. 10 weeks later, Steven got out of the downswing and played some of the best poker he ever played with in his entire life. So we decided to create a client interview for you and talk about his way, his journey, and what he overcame in the 10 years of working with him. So I would say, let's jump right into it.
Hello, Steven. Thank you for taking the time. And as I said in the intro, you're a very interesting poker player since you're blind, which brings me to the first question. A lot of people, when I make that post about you and when they see the title of the YouTube video, they think that you're maybe 50% blind or not fully blind, and that you see the cards or like the numbers on the cards or whatever. So can you tell us the story about how you became blind and if you're really 100% blind?
All right. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, Karim. So this was a process that started in 2014, where I started losing my eyesight in just one eye. Took around 6 months before I was 99% blind on my right eye. And I still didn't have the name of the disease because it's a very rare disease. And my eye doctor told me that it's very rarely that's going to happen to my left eye as well. So I was pretty calm, and I thought that, I was playing poker for a living in 2014. And I thought, it's no problem playing with fully eyesight on my left eye. So I didn't stress about it at all. And then it started to happen on my left eye after 6 months, and took around 7 months before I got the name of the disease. It's called LHON. It's a very rare disease. Even my eye doctor had to Google what type of disease it was because they haven't heard about it before. So it's a genetic disease which comes from my mom's side. My uncle has the same disease, but when he got it, they didn't have a name for it because, it was 50 years ago or something, he got it. When it happened on my left eye, it took around 6 months more, so around a year in total before I had 1% on both my eyes. So the last 6 months, those were really tough to be honest. But, I would go to the gym like twice a week, sprinting 4 or 5 days a week. And I think that's very healthy when you're going through a lot of stress in your life. So I'm pretty proud of how I handled it. I didn't get depressed or anything, but for sure it was a hard time.
Yeah, I remember one of the first conversations we had. We talked about the football field story, which was a story that really, really catched me. And I think it's also part of you becoming blind, right?
That was, as I said, I was sprinting 4 or 5 days a week on the soccer field. And this was something I've done for 2-3 years. Because I just fell in love with both going to the gym and sprinting and being active in general. So I was really, really fast. I still sprint on a treadmill, but I haven't gone out sprinting since I had around 10% eyesight. That was the last time I sprinted on the soccer field. And the reason why I haven't sprinted since then is because I ended in an accident on the soccer field. When I had 10% vision, I sprinted, I sprint 10 rounds, right? As fast as I can. And I was really fast as well. That's why I sprint one time and I walk the back. So I sprint, walk, 10 times. And the first sets I sprinted and it was like halfway through the soccer field. And then I sprinted right into some like stone hedges someone put in the middle of the field. And that was a really painful experience. So straight to the hospital. And I think that's the first time I actually was pretty happy that I've been training my abs for some years, because I think if I didn't have a six pack, I would get really injured. But yeah, it was really, really bad. But like, I couldn't train legs for like 6 months because, I had some injury in my legs for 6 months. But it could have gone much worse than what it did.
Yeah, this is a really, really crazy story. If I imagine like running into like a stone or something without seeing, that's really painful, I think. And Daniel, now you come into play, because also another thing that I heard when I started to work with Steven was that you assist him to play better poker. So for me, when I heard Steven's story and that he's blind, first of all, I thought, okay, if he plays live, he has you on your side or on his side, and you tell him like, oh, like these are the cards, these are the chips. I think it's very complicated, and you have to be very smart, to like play poker like this. But I could imagine it. But then I heard you also play online, and also you stream on a regular basis. So then I was like, okay, so how do you do it? And for me also, what's very interesting, when you started to work with Steven, have you been a poker player before? How does it look like when you play together?
All right. Yeah. So I met Steven like 5 years ago. And at that time, I thought I knew, the game of poker. But when he told me that he used to live off poker before he lost his eyesight, I got intrigued and asked him to coach me. And that's how our friendship evolved. So he was teaching me by helping him playing online poker. And we just one table. And it was very hectic in the beginning because I didn't know the name of the positions or any ranges or anything at all. I didn't even know the hand strength. I thought a flush was, beating a full house, for example. So it took some time in the beginning to actually get comfortable. Also with Steven, going mad on bluffing as well, because I wasn't comfortable with that part. But through the last few years, we managed to up from one table to play live poker at a high stakes live poker at some events before, and right now we stream and we play comfortably at 6-7 tables tournaments, and we've been up to 10-11 tables at some point as well, that we just in the flow state of cruising through the field. But this requires some sort of like preparation. Like we have our own like not language, I would say, but like it's just about to give the correct information at the correct time, and which hand to prioritize, because he might have 6 decisions at the same time. So we have to use the time bank actively to manage to go through all the spots.
Mm-hmm. How do you do that? How do you prioritize the hands?
First of all, it's the matter of the buy-in. Like the higher the buy-in, the more prioritized it gets. And then I don't know, like Steven taught me a lot of poker throughout this year, so I'm not I don't play poker that much myself. Maybe some microstakes now and then, but I know which spot is easy or difficult. That might have to be, this is a good check raise hand as a bluff or something, and then maybe I prioritize that hand over, so Steven has more time to think about the spot. And other than that, I just follow the natural, like the hand rotation, I guess. But sometimes like the time bank runs maybe 10-15 seconds on one tournament before I get the time to talk about that spot.
Yeah, and if you remember, I told you both that you working together as a team could be a big advantage or a big disadvantage, right? Big advantage meaning that like if you communicate the right the hand in the right way, Steven can make a good decision. You prioritize for him, as you just said, so he knows, all right, that's the buy-in, I can make this decision. And you give him maybe extra information that he would not be aware of. Yeah. But on the other hand, it could also be a disadvantage, right? Let's say you mix up the hands, you like you say the wrong chip count or stuff like that. So yeah.
Like not that often, but it does happen that I missay the hand or the suit or the pot or something. Like it's just bound to happen at some spots. But overall, I'm pretty happy with both our performances when it comes to like staying in a good focus and manage to communicate back and forth and getting correct information. I also have to highlight that like I don't help Steven on his decisions in the way that like it's only one player per hand. So I'm not allowed to say, for example, that you should do this or whatever. I could just say like the facts, and he has to decide for himself.
Yeah, exactly, right. But you can also tell him like, hey, you have time bank, like take your time for your decision and stuff like that. One important question that I also had in mind for you is because a lot of questions that I get, right? I get the question of like often like, okay, how do you keep your focus high, right? But if you play poker, I think it's fine, like there are certain things you can do, you can keep your focus high. But for you, you're just like telling, this is the hand, these are the chip stacks, it can be a little bit monotone at times. So how can you make sure that you keep your focus high? Because especially you play tournaments. At the end of your session, you make the most amount of money. So if you make a mistake there, it's much more costly than when you make a mistake, at the beginning of the tournament for 100 big blinds, and like you're in the big blind and it's like, like someone raises and you say the wrong hand, you accidentally fold and you lose one big blind compared to, being at the final table and you make a misclick or something.
It's a difficult question to answer, but I think it has a lot of, like we've been doing this for 5 years. So we got, used over time to eliminate certain factors that, can prevent the focus to fall out. Like, I turn off my phone, or I don't use my phone, for example, mid-session. I try to just focus. I don't have any other, Twitch or YouTube up on the side or something. I just focus on what's happening right now, and I just remove everything else to, proper, get in a correct focus, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, coming back to you, Steven. Since you told me very early when we started our journey together that you stream and that your big goal is to involve the stream and like grow a bigger audience. But can you tell us what is your main goal with streaming and where do you see yourself in the next 2, 3, 4 years?
So as Daniel said, we've been doing this for a while now, and streaming has been a bit over 2 years. And I remember the first stream we had, then we were playing 7 tables, and we figured out that this is actually impossible because we were playing cash game. Then we played 6 tables, and cash game is way different, mostly because we just have 100 big blind spots all the time. And Daniel doesn't have to say the stack sizes all the time because we know it's 100 big blinds and less information, and everything goes so much smoothly when we play cash game. So we play 7 tables and we're like, okay, this is not going to work. We have to drop down. So then we played like 4 for a while, and then we did up to 7 again after like a year. And that went much better, but still a lot of mistakes. So we can say this year we started to play like 4 or 5 regularly, and it went smoothly. But like the longer it took, and especially when I started a mindset coach, like the coaching, my focus is like through the roof. To be honest, right now it's never been this good. So now we play 10 tables, 11 tables. We played 11 tables yesterday, and shockingly, I think I've never played that like great poker, to be honest. Like both me and Daniel is like in a insanely good flow state when we play 10, 11 tables. So I love it, and I love streaming. And as I said in the beginning, the goal was just, do this for fun, try it out. And we didn't have any goal in mind. But now, since we have grown the stream and we have almost 5,000 followers right now, and I think we can actually, this can go somewhere. I think we can, we have the opportunity to, get sponsored and do this for a living. And like my main goal in 2-3 years is to do this full time together with Daniel. And like streaming is one thing, but I also want to travel more together with Daniel because not only is like he's my best friend, but also like I have different assistants that I travel to sometimes, but Daniel is like way superior from all the other assistants I have. So whenever I travel live, I want to do it with Daniel, but he works a lot. So my goal in 2-3 years is just to work really hard, really hard, and try to grow the stream to that point where we can get sponsored, and then we can do this together and play live poker, and also do this streaming thing more on the serious side, where we like grow our YouTube channel and social media as well, and focus fully on this. So that's the goal.
Yeah, and of course, down below in the description, I have your Twitch account, your Instagram account, and people can jump over and take a look at your stream as well there. Let's talk about our work a little bit. You said your focus is very good. So can you tell me, why did you get in touch with me? Why did you thought about working with a mindset coach? And what was the beginning of our work?
So I've always been stubborn. For example, when I lost my eyesight, everyone told me you should go like to a shrink, like you should get help, get through this with someone else, not by yourself. And I've always been stubborn and always said, no, I can do it by myself. It's fine. I know what to do. I have a strong mental game. Like my, I've always been stubborn. But when it comes to poker, I think poker it's such a complicated and difficult game. Not only the game of poker, but mastering your mental game when things goes really bad. And this year, especially 2-3 first months of the year, things went really bad. First time where Dan and I have been on a really, second time we've been on a downswing. The first time it was because I didn't study poker at all, to be honest. I studied like a lot of cash games, and then we transitioned to tournaments, and we ended up downswinging. But then I started to study tournaments, and we went from a downswing to upswing. But now I did study tournaments a lot this year, but still we were on a downswing, and I felt that my mental game became worse and worse for every session, to be honest. But if you would ask me like before the mentoring, if I would have problems with tilting, I would probably say no. But if you would ask me today, I would say yes, because I had a lot of problems when it comes to tilting, a lot of problems that I weren't aware of. But the reason why I contacted you is because of the downswing, and I were more unsure how to get out of the downswing, and I were hoping that you had the answers, and for sure you had, because all my leaks has been fixed now. I feel like I've done 10 weeks together with you, and I feel like this is for sure the best money I've ever spent doing this course. It's so many things I've learned, and having like a structure, that's really hard for us poker players to have like a great structure. And having this structure me and you created together, that has been probably the best change I've ever made. And one thing is just going through all my hands marked before every session, for example, has been probably the best thing I've ever done, fixing so many leaks and having a pre-session routine, doing the same thing every time before I play poker, makes me fall into like a flow state right away whenever we start to play. My mind is like, okay, it's game time, let's go, right? And the same when it comes to the break routine and the post routine. And doing just the right things, and you learn me so much that I weren't aware of. So I'm really grateful.
Awesome. And this would be also my next question, but I think you already answered it. What was the biggest change? You said discipline, but was there something else that you want to mention? Having a structure, and you giving me the right formula for success. A lot of things that I weren't aware of course, like for example, when you get tired, this was a big problem for me. When you play blind, it's gonna be a point in your session where your mind is gonna be
unfocused. This was my first question to you. I remember that what should I do when I'm 7 hours into the session and I can't focus anymore? And then you're like, when your mind gets tired, you should focus more on your body, because the body and mind, they connect. And I'm like, yeah, fuck, that makes sense actually. I started to, for example, you said jump into a cold shower, for example, try that, or do some sprinting on a treadmill, which is a part of my pre-session routine. So I started to do that when I get tired after 7 hours, and do push-ups, all those things, and it works. Like, this has been the biggest problem for me, playing poker blind, and you fixed it. And another thing is like going deep into tournaments. It's been a problem for me because I'm too much either in the past or in the future, because I might think like, oh, if I just won this pot a half an hour ago, I would chip lead the tournament now. I was thinking too much about that, or thinking about pay jumps, thinking about, oh fuck, if I bluff shove the river now and he calls, then I'm out. It's a close decision, so I'm just gonna check, right? All these things, and now I'm just fully in the present. I'm not thinking past, I'm not thinking future. And after you telling me this, took like 2 weeks before you came first place out of 1,200 people. So yeah, it's been great advice.
Sure. Awesome. What are your next steps with your stream, and do you travel together soon?
When it comes to traveling, we don't have any plans yet, because right now we just want to focus on the stream and grow the stream and grow our bankroll. So our plans is to just do what we have done the last couple of months, because it's been working out. Like, I really love it as well. I feel like I'm like in a monk mode situation right now where I don't drink alcohol. I have to-do lists that I follow every day, like meditation, cold shower, sprinting, going to the gym, all those things, and playing poker 5 days or 4 days a week with poker and 1 day with study. Then I have 2 days where I'm like spending time with my son. And I think this lifestyle is great, and I just want to continue doing what we're doing right now.
Awesome. So last but not least, is there anything you want to share with the audience? Anything you want to say? Any tips you have?
Yeah, get coaching with you. For sure. If you have a downswing, or if you're, have a bad mental game, for sure. This is the best thing I've done, for sure. Blind Guy 789 on Twitch.
All right,
That's
perfect.
it.
Daniel, anything you want to share?
I don't know, like, this has been pretty awesome. I don't have anything special to add, to be honest.
Perfect. Then thank you guys for your time. Of course, all the links are down below in the description. I hope people check you out and start watching your stream.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.